Hi, last night I watched Last Passenger, the 2013 British thriller directed and co-written by Omid Nooshin. It's very much a disaster movie in miniature, as we follow, uh, set a few days before Christmas, a late night train departing London's Charing Cross station, heading for Hastings on the south coast. Various mixed characters on board. We have a doctor taking care of his young son. We have an events organizer fleeing a girls' night out. We have a grandmother who's been shopping in the city, an executive who's been staying late at the office, and a tube worker taking the train home to prepare for his parents' visit from Poland the following day. However, as the train continues on its journey and the number of passengers start to thin out, they realize that it's starting to skip stations and that following a strange incident on the track, someone has taken control of the train and plans to use it in a bizarre suicide pact. This is a superb film. I was hugely impressed by this. It came out of nowhere. I had heard of the premise that it was this about a runaway train with people on board. I think I was under the misapprehension that it was a horror film, that was some kind of monster. It's not. It's a straight disaster movie, but with set entirely in a three-carriage British commuter train, and really with only about six characters. But Nushin's skill in first sketching the characters, the first third of the film is just pure light drama as we get to know the various characters on the train. And then as the situation starts to escalate and the tension mounts, it is absolutely perfectly tense for the back half of the film as the characters go through various strategies to try and stop the train, to contact the driver, to signal the outside world what's happening, and the potential catastrophe of it running into the barriers in Hastings and causing untold damage and loss of life. I was mildly concerned where one character at one point evokes the Moorgate disaster of 1975, when a train ran into the barriers at Moorgate Station in London and caused a large number of deaths. And the character suggests that it was in fact the driver's fault and did so on purpose. I looked into this and found that the a subsequent investigation showed that there was no fault with the train, that it was pure driver action that did it, but it's unknown whether or not it was deliberate. It's the prevailing theory appears to be that it was a suicide attempt after he'd become drunk. This film appears to follow a similar pattern. The driver is never shown in detail. We never find out anything about him. We only hear a few words of dialogue. But it suggested that he plans simply to run the train into the barrier to kill himself and anyone else who happens to be on board. But the tension and the interaction between the characters and the completely thought through logic of the situation, I think, works extremely well. And I was very impressed by this. It's a real nail biter of a film. The only flaw that I really noticed is that the plot of the film and its setting relies on the trains having the old fashioned manual doors, which had been phased out about 10 years before the film was released. So something of a period setting might have worked a bit better. It could have been Millennium Eve 1999 or something like that, rather than apparently contemporary London. The other thing that's, I think, quite tragic to note is that this was Nushin's only film as a director. After working in short films and commercials, this was his first big break. But sadly, he died only 4 years later, having worked on a few other screenplays. This is his only feature film. It's a tragedy that a man of clearly considerable talent saw his life end and his career terminate so abruptly and so early. He was clearly very promising with a great deal more to give. But this is a superb film, a terrific thriller, and excellent for watching when that late night commute home beckons.